Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Nameless Retro Wrestling Show, named as such because all the cool names have already been taken. I'm Ben Jordan, along with Michael V, and we are here tonight to talk about maybe the best show we've reviewed yet. Spring Stampede 1994 from World Championship Wrestling. We are going to get into it in all its glory here in just a few minutes. We'll get into, of course, the business of Spring Stampede 1994, and then we'll dig into the matches themselves, which this is an absolutely loaded show, Mike.
Loaded.
From beginning to end, there's banger after banger. There's really not a that doesn't let up. And usually there's a show where there's like, well, there's like that one match, remember? But there's that one match on this show. The worst match on this show is still the best match on a lot of shows we've watched. So we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. Real quick, a little housekeeping. If you missed it on the Nameless Retro Wrestling Show Facebook page, Sunday morning, I woke up to an alert on my phone that I honestly didn't believe was true. I thought someone in our crowd, someone that was watching us, was playing a joke on us because it said Mike Rotunda has commented on your post. And I went, there is no fucking way Mike Rotunda actually commented on one of our posts. And sure as shit, I went in, I said, is this for real? He said yes. And he was really cool about it. Obviously, we said, obviously it was all in good fun. He saw the post that I posted talking about when we watched the show where he wrestled Dr. Death. And I made the post about how you just can't escape Mike Rotunda. And at the end, I said, tune in to see how much Mike hates, to hear Mike talk about how much he hates Mike Rotunda. And I couldn't believe it. I got your reaction. What were you thinking when you saw that? Like, holy shit, right?
Yeah, I was trying to jet out the door to the fucking farmer's market and this shit happened. But yeah, no, he was cool. I'm following him now. I thought he had some fun with it. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, listen, as much as his abdominal stretches bored me, and I have also been clear that I loved other parts of his career.
Correct.
Like,
yes.
He won. He won a game that a lot of people lost. He made a lot of money. He didn't have to over-obsess about his physique and do dangerous shit to keep it intact because he wrestled in that fucking shirt. He made millions with an S of dollars. He seems like he's in pretty good health. Like, so yeah,
he won at the game of pro wrestling.
Absolutely. And if you can do that and have some fun with it, that's good shit. So I'm
not giving up.
He threatened to audit us. God bless him.
Absolutely. I'm not giving up on getting Mike Rotunda to sit in with us on a show and review a show with us. That's a dream. And if he ever stumbles across this episode, please, Mike, I would absolutely love to have a chat with you and review and hear stories and just really have a fun time with reminiscing about the old days. That would be so fucking cool. But yeah, that was one of the coolest things that we could ever possibly ask for, is for Mike Rotunda to just on a Sunday morning stumble across our stupid show and acknowledge us in any way. He could have just kept going.
Searching himself, man. Vanity searching himself. Nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. I would love to get him on the show. So I asked him in public. He kayfabed it, which I thought he would do. I'm gonna wait a couple of days, maybe more, and send him a message. Say, hey, man, any chance? I'd even pay Mike Rotunda to come on. I'd pay him on my own pocket to come on and spend an hour with me. We'll see. All right, moving right along. We do like to discuss the business, but of course, first I have to tell you, everyone, we are watching Spring Stampede 1994, Sunday, April 7th, 1994, from the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. Our buddy Paulie Tomaselli was live at this show in 1994. He's a couple years younger than me, and I was 14 at the time. So I'm going to guess he was 11, maybe 12 years old. And if he's maybe watching along, he can comment and let us know. But yeah, it is a rocking show from an era that we have now dipped our toes into a couple of times now, which is 93, 94, 95 WCW, which is a very interesting era because the work is really good. They have some of the best workers, the best wrestlers on the planet wrestling for them in 1994. And this show is a great showcase of that. But business wise, it doesn't seem to reflect their business wasn't as good as what the wrestling seems to be. Even, going back and watching it now that it holds up, it didn't draw, right? I mean, the business.
The wrestling's not good though either. I mean, the shows are not good. Like there's a stretch that starts with this show going into what is it, Bash at the Beach when Hogan comes in. I mean, that might be their best 3 shows of all time in a row. Like, but everything around it, like, I mean, there's some good things, but overall, I mean, even the wrestling's not really all that good. I mean, there's just,
so maybe we've just watched the best of that of what's in that era, right?
Yeah, we've seen. I mean, that that Starrcade '93 show that we watched, that wasn't, I mean, Flair Vader was really good, but that, I mean, we talked about it at the time, like a fucking 30-minute Nasty Boys match with Road Warrior Hawk, and I mean, come on now, like, I mean, like, they did not use their talent the best in those eras. And '94, shit, when we start getting into the 3 Faces of Fear and all that bullshit. I mean, when it's like,
Hogan, when it gets Hogan comes in and kind of ruins the party in some ways.
Yeah, he killed it.
Help me out here. Is we just watched those Clash shows with Flair and Funk being the main storyline. Is this show, the Spring Stampede show, before or after that Funk stuff that we watched?
That's 5 years after that. That's 89. This is 94.
Why am I so Flair was booking both times in 2 different instances?
Yes.
Or he was booking that entire time?
No, fuck no. What the? He was in WWF. No.
Yeah, right. Of course not, right? So
2 different times.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. That's where
August 89 to end of February 89, and
my brain was not fun. That was confusing the shit out of me because I was like, this seems like a very different era than the Funk era. And of course it was. It was 5 years later.
Yeah, first week of '94 to I think around April, May of '95. He hangs on to.
Gotcha. All right, never mind. Fuck, I don't know what else. All right, let's look at the business notes. The show drew 12,200 for a gate of 107,000. This was the company's first 6-figure gate in the city of Chicago, which is interesting in itself. 12,200 sounds like a pretty big gate. It looked like a fairly full building.
It sounds like a lot of freebies, but I mean, they still did a lot of sold tickets for sure. But I mean, like the average price being like $8 or something like that. Like, yeah, that sounds like they got some freebies in there. But that's good. I mean, you still did your first 6-figure gate in the city, and I mean, it looked really good on TV. It's well lit and doesn't look like it's in a deep, depressing place like a lot of WCW pay-per-views did.
Chicago always has crowds that are going to participate in the show, right? That's why still to this day AEW comes to Chicago often, because you're going to get a crowd that is going to react in Chicago, and this show is no different. Even back in 1994, the show did 115,000 pay-per-view buys. Sadly, that is tied with Starrcade '93, featuring Flair versus Vader for the highest amount of pay-per-view buys since Halloween Havoc '92, about a year and a half before this event. That show featured the first spin the wheel, make the deal match with Sting and Jake Roberts.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
crazy. Glove.
A year and a half is, I mean, and this is the kind of business that you're doing. I mean, oof. I mean, they could not sell pay-per-views for shit.
No, yeah.
I do like the idea. I love the idea that the first spin the wheel, make the deal match might have just completely killed the town too, and just fucking killed their pay-per-view business. Like all the people that bought that shit were like, I'm not buying a fucking WCW pay-per-view.
Right? Yeah, all that for a fucking coal miner's glove match? Fuck off.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, obviously it's not just that, but I mean, like, it's just that, I mean, they really did not have you know, I mean, they're not selling anything. I mean, it's just things are not. It's not. This is, you know, a really bad business sign for them for sure.
For sure. Jake Roberts in WCW, this it just didn't work for whatever reason.
Well, he was fucked up. Drugs. Yeah,
drugs mostly. Yeah. Television ratings for WCW's top 2 cable shows in '93 and '94. Hulk Hogan began appearing on television in March '94. Again, this is April '94 that the event that we're watching takes place. Saturday Night in '93 draws a 2.26. In '94, a 2.27. Basically the same. Main Event '93, 1.96. '94, 1.9. Actually goes down a tick.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I guess if I'm understanding this correctly,
he has no effect on TV ratings whatsoever.
Hulk Hogan does not really move the needle immediately for WCW at all.
And doesn't. Well, I mean, he does in ways, and probably the most important ways. I mean, like pay-per-views definitely start, you know, going way up. I mean, especially compared to this shit era. And merchandising, you know, for sure. I mean, there's no question about those things. And that's where he's really worth his salt. But from a TV rating standpoint, like, he didn't really mean anything at all.
Not really. Yeah. I mean, nothing that you can actually put say that was good. In fact, it actually goes down a little bit for main events, which is crazy to even think about.
Yeah. I think they fucked up in the way that they used him, because they made it too Hogan centric. Like, it just turns in, you know, like there should be a tick, but instead of it going up, like, because obviously some new people have come in, and, you know, I mean, he's going to draw some casual viewers. There's no question about that. But you're also driving people off because, you know, fucking Jim Duggan's win the U.S. title in fucking 20 seconds or whatever the fuck too. I mean, like, just, you know, and the honky tonk man and, you know, all that kind of bullshit, you know, in 1994. Come on. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. And you see it here, like, you know, yeah, they kind of topped out here a little bit, like with Flair challenging for the title and then defending the title. Like, at least business goes slightly up. And you can see it on this show, and you can see it in Slamboree too, which is after this. But, I mean, man, they start getting really fucking good, man. Like, if they could have just brought Hogan in and put him in that mix with the top guys and, you know, really focus on the same guys underneath. Yeah, they might have had something, because they, you know, and they did. They had something. This was different. It was, you know, for the time especially, you know, I mean, WWF's doing what? Bret Hart is as babyface champion now in '94. Like, it's nothing like this. It's not wild fucking chaos and
nothing. Yeah. With blood and all that. No, you're not getting any of that.
Yeah, and then they, you know, take 2 steps back and become even lamer than what Bret Hart would be. I mean, they're all the way back to fucking 85, you know, in the next few months. So yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of a misnomer more than anything. Just, you know, they just thinking that, you know, we had to recreate this whole thing, and I don't think they did. Like, I think they were better off trying to mix Hogan into their world than, you know, adapting everybody else to Hogan's world. I mean, it didn't really make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. And going back and looking at it, it didn't really work the way that they had hoped either. So, you know, what if another one of those what ifs? What if they have just mixed him in with what they already have here, just plugging him into the top of this card? You could probably still do some really good business, because this show is fucking loaded with stars, man. Loaded. There are a couple of dark matches that I do want to talk about. One in particular. Danny Bonaducci defeats Christopher Knight of the Brady Bunch in a dark match on this show that opens this pay-per-view for the folks in Chicago. I think Bonaducci was a local radio guy in Chicago at the time, so I think that was where that came from. And then
Partridge Boy and Peter Brady. That's fantastic. Danny Partridge and Peter Brady. That's money.
Exactly. Yeah. Excuse me. Another dark match saw Pat Tanaka and Haito defeat the Sullivan brothers, Kevin and Dave Sullivan, in a tag team match, which I don't know. That's just a very odd match to even think that even happened. And thank God they didn't make us sit through that on the actual pay-per-view itself. As we get into
they had plenty of more Dave Sullivan to fucking contribute for the rest of the year, so it didn't matter.
Oof, Dave Sullivan.
Well into 95 too.
Oh, that stuff does not hold up well. It's not that it's cringy.
It wasn't good then. It fucking sucked.
It was bad then, and it's even worse now. All right, so the pay-per-view opens with a singles match. Johnny B. Bad taking on Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Doll. And 5 minutes and 55 seconds of a really solid opening match. I told you, in our chat, I watched this match waiting for them to fuck something up, right? And I was like, all right, well, something's gonna happen. They're gonna flub something, and they didn't. These two have great chemistry, and they have a feud that comes up, which
always they feud the whole fucking time they're in WCW almost.
Yes, and it includes, of course, the very famous 4 flat tires. I said I had a flat tire promo, which is classic if you haven't seen it before. But it involves it's a little bit later in their runs in WCW. But this is an early match between the two of them. Johnny B. Bad is fairly popular for what his character is in 1994. And Diamond Dallas Page, while isn't in the greatest of shape, he goes out there and plays his character perfectly, and they have a really solid match.
Vince loved Johnny B. Bad's character. That's why
Vince McMahon did.
Yeah, that's why they signed him, and Pritchard did too. I mean, he's not. I mean, they only did the gay heat thing for a couple of months. I mean, he's not doing that anymore. I mean,
at this point he's like a fighter. Like they're playing it more as boxing.
I mean, they play it up, they mention it, but I mean, he's just flashy, flamboyant guy. I mean, there's no the homosexual overtones are long gone. I mean, he's just kind of a guy that
he's just he's a flamboyant guy,
very colorful, and
he's got those fucking pop guns with the confetti.
Yeah, and they put him, with Kimberly later and all that stuff. But yeah, they always had good chemistry. And Paige, he doesn't get enough credit in this era to me because he's as good as he's supposed to be. He takes these big comedic kind of pratfalls, and like I said, and I've heard Bischoff say the same thing that you said earlier today, just about his gear, and he looks, real indie, shitty,
out of shape. Yeah, he just looks like a kind of a chubby, out of shape guy. And like I said to you, if you'd have told me in 1994, hey, that guy right there, that guy's gonna be one of the most popular WCW acts maybe ever, top 10 for sure, most popular act, I would have said no fucking way. He's fine. He's a perfectly good undercard heel wrestler. But if you'd have told me he was going to be one of the biggest babyface acts in that promotion's history, I would have said you were crazy.
Is he top 10?
DDP?
Yeah.
He's a top 10 babyface in WCW? Come on.
I don't know. I question that.
I'll put it out there. Those of you that are watching,
it's not. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's
if not,
impossible.
He's in the discussion for that 9-10 slot.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not. I mean, but as a slam dunk, I mean, I don't know.
He was pretty fucking popular for a stretch.
He was, but he's popular. He's riding the coattails of other guys, though, too. I mean,
he's never the most popular. That's where that is.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, and I'm not, again, I think he's I think you could make a case for it. I'm not arguing against it at all. Mm-hmm. And I like him in this era because he shows that he can do it different ways. And his look and all that, it all adds to his overall sleaziness of the
sleaziness.
Character.
He doesn't look sleazy.
Yeah, there's a kind of a hinted, subtle comedic element to it. It all works for me. I like him here. But yeah, as far as top 10 or top 15, it's possible. But I mean, the thing is that he's getting louder pops because more people are in the building because other people brought those more people to the building.
Sting is incredibly popular. Goldberg is
and Hogan. Popular. Yeah, I mean all of them. I mean all those guys. So I mean that's that's where it's a little bit different. Like he never carried them, but I mean, politically he played it right because he got into he was a good use because he was good in the ring and he was a big guy. But like he got into the Leno match, he got into the Rodman and Malone match. Like he was, but yeah, he's definitely a popular guy. And like I said, I give him credit. This shows versatility that you could do it both ways. Like he could be a completely different kind of worker. And in this era too, he's fucking half foot taller than some of these guys and doesn't really, he knows how to work with them to where, again, there's like a hint of comedicness to it that makes it like believable. And then
I agree. That's what it is that he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
Right. And that because you can't, the way that he looks like a goofball. So if he didn't act like a goofball, you'd go, why is this guy who clearly is a goofball taking himself way too seriously?
Who's fucking 6'5" and, like the third tallest guy on the roster or whatever the fuck, probably at certain points. Yeah, you would. But yeah, I always enjoyed him and Johnny B. Bad together. Like if you want a good opener, you could pretty much throw those two on. It's going to be good.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And DDP also had the best Renegade match I ever saw too when he won the TV title. Like that is the best. It's not good, but it's not good.
All right.
It's not good, but it's passable. And I have not seen too many fucking passable Renegade matches. But yeah, I mean, but by doing the same stuff, just with these kind of comedic pratfalls, and he always knows how to work the crowd to get heat. Like he's real good at some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so again, and they don't waste our time. 5 minutes and 55 seconds, in and out, on to the next. The next match is the WCW World Television Championship match. Lord Steven Regal with Sir William defends against Brian Pillman. Man, a true Matt classic. Like, just when you talk about heel babyface, Regal bringing his European influence in, and Pillman just being a textbook babyface, right? Like, if I was going to sell someone that was a young, good-looking, high-flying kind of, wants to be a babyface, I would say go and watch Brian Pillman in this match in particular, because he's fantastic as the baby face in this match.
He's one of the best baby faces of all time to me. Working baby faces, he is. Like, he just is. I mean, he works believably with bigger guys. He's a great
knows
seller.
How to play that role.
Yeah, his comebacks are fucking tremendous. I mean, like, he's just a outstanding, like, technical babyface worker. He's really good. And this is a great match.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Well, great might be strong, but I mean, it was really, 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 really fucking good, though. I mean, if anything, maybe the comeback's a little too short with the going to a 15-minute draw. Like, they could have probably squeezed. And he did some shit that didn't make sense. Like, now it's probably not the time to start a 10-punch count. And he realized it like halfway through and stopped. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, yeah, it's just believable stuff. Like, they hit each other, pretty solidly. Regal doesn't get enough credit either. Like, he could always adapt to smaller guys' styles. Like, he had some really good matches in the Nitro. He
stretched the shit out of Brian Pillman in this match. Like, he stretched the fuck out of him.
He's really good in the Nitro era with, like, Ultimo Dragon and Psychosis and guys like that. So yeah, he knew how to work that style, and it was just kind of pound him and get get a good match out of him
and tie him up.
Yeah, and then sell him the comebacks and all that. I mean, he's just really good with that. But yeah, this was a really good fucking match.
Yeah, and
kind of underrated.
Yes, underrated because yes, if we were to do star ratings on a 5-star level, this is a 3.5 to 4-star match.
I wouldn't say really 4, good. But it's
3.5, 3.5.
Yeah, it's a very good match. Yeah,
very, very good. And the time limit draw works. You don't feel like you're let down by the time limit draw. And so
that would be my biggest complaint, is just the way they handled the last minute was not good. Like, they kind of fucked that up, because besides him doing moves that didn't really make sense, like to end in the middle of a suplex back into, like, they ran outside the ring with like 12 seconds left. It's like, well, you've just killed all the suspense of the last.
Right. They want you, obviously, because the idea is to get to the pin 1, 2 times up.
They're just doing 3. Shit. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It was a little bit. I don't know. Good, it feels like they fucked it up, or they decided to do something different, maybe, and it just didn't really connect the way that they hoped. It was a little bit deflating.
The fans are like, oh, and like I said, they got a short comeback anyway. So yeah, I mean, like he put enough heat on Pillman to where a good comeback would have been worth it. They cut that off. And they did that. Yeah, the last minute of the match. Like, I mean, you don't want to see good movies with a shitty ending. So that's the only thing that brings it down a little bit. But,
right. Yeah, exactly. That probably takes it from a 4 to a 3. You're right. All right. The next match is the match that you said to me flat out is the best match on the show, in your opinion. The Chicago Street Fight, the Nasty Boys taking on Cactus Jack and Max Payne. And it was a fucking fun ECW style brawl before ECW style brawls were even a thing. This had a very ECW feel to it. And it was stiff too, man. These guys were throwing some shit at each other.
Yeah, but it was better than ECW shit because they let it build too. Like, I mean, this thing is built from like one thing to the other, and it built so well that when the table blew its only spot and fucking broke on fucking Cactus Jack and was it Sags? Sags and Cactus. Yeah, I mean, the crowd, they just a big round of applause and cheers. Like, they didn't even give a shit that like they got ripped of the fucking pile driver through a table spot, because it was just such a wild brawl that was so captivating. And even when we put this show up, it was like, someone even asked, is that the show with the match with Cactus and Max Payne and the Nasty Boys? And it's like, this just felt different. Like, of anything at the time, ECW shit feels like ECW shit, and it gets, very repetitive, but this was very different than anything on the show. Like, it had a fight feel more than anything else. And the fucking serial killer ending was fantastic. Like,
this match sticks out so much that WWE actually clipped the end and put it up on their YouTube page. And so I thought it would be interesting because they put it up. That's how incredible the finishing stretch of this match is that WWE thought we should clip this and put it up because it's so fucking incredible on a show that's absolutely low. So check this out.
Don't try this at home.
There is so much stiff shit before this where Cactus throws some haymakers at Brian Knobbs. Some absolute haymaking punches.
I have no idea how many bodies are laying all over the place. We're going to have to call Quincy.
They'd already destroyed the concession stand that was conveniently placed for them.
This is as wild a match that we've ever seen on a WCW pay-per-view.
I guarantee all 4 of these guys are going to feel it for the next couple of weeks. Somebody's going to the hospital tonight.
Knobbs is down.
And we're about to see the worst camera angle in the history of camera angles. Right here coming up. Watch this. The referee is right in the way. Cactus Jack takes a horrific shovel shot, and you don't really get to see it. Watch. Oh, look at the way Cactus's body. But that was not gimmicked in any way. Because watch the way that Cactus's body, he just drops. He got fucking clobbered with that shovel.
And where he got it, I don't know. A shovel.
That was probably a receipt for those punches earlier, honestly.
They were just wild and stiff in this era, the Nasty Boys. They were hurting people a lot.
Here you go.
Look at him on the table.
Oops. Crowd doesn't care.
Crowd pops. They cheered.
And then here comes one of the sickest bumps you will ever see in your entire life, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that Cactus Jack doesn't die on this bump is...
Hoping to rearrange furniture just to get out
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh.
He's hoping to rearrange furniture just to get it out of the way.
Oh. Horrific. And he does not move for the next 5 minutes.
I don't think it's gonna get out.
Obviously.
What are you going to win in a match like this? Give up and quit.
Oh.
Nothing more.
What? Oh, he's like, yeah, just pin
The
me.
slasher movie ending. The slasher movie ending.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if the Cubs can hit like that, they'd be in first place. It's over.
You gotta shoot it.
Unbelievable.
You gotta shoot him in the head to make sure he doesn't get up.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. It was a wild brawl that does stick out, obviously, for a number of reasons. Yeah.
Still, of all the shit that we've seen in the last, what is it, fucking 28 years? Oh my God, we're old. Oof. But all the shit we've seen in the last 28 years, it still fucking holds up as wild and out of control. And at that time, especially, I mean, it was even more so. Like that was a match I watched back on tape that I recorded multiple times, and this show in general. Like that's
also
just
one of the shortest
awesome
matches
match
on the entire show. It's only 8 minutes and 54 seconds from
That's
bell
all
to
it
bell.
needed to be. That's
Right?
all
And it was
to be.
actually, it was a car crash, an 8-minute and 54-second car crash. It was awesome. It was
And
really
it
fun.
touched everybody's lives who saw it in 8 minutes and 54 seconds.
Absolutely.
To
So
where
you
that's
go-
the one match people asked about.
Absolutely, it is the match that people do. It definitely sticks out,
Yeah.
and which is saying something on this card, because again, this card is loaded. We already talked about 2 really solid matches before this, and the show just gets more loaded and solid the rest of the way. So we go from this wild Chicago street fight to the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship match. Stunning Steve Austin with Colonel Robert Parker, this champion, defends against the Great Muta. 16 minutes and 20 seconds of technical wrestling bliss. It is another, like, on almost any other show, this might be the match that people would be like, oh, is that? Although even Brian Skibo asked when I posted about it, is this the match? Or no, it was actually another friend of mine, Jared Willis, who asked, is this the show with Steve Austin and Great Muta? That match was fire. And this match, it was really good. Talk about guys that have good chemistry together. Steve Austin and the Great Muta have fantastic chemistry together.
That's great. Muda's working here, and there's a lot more than technical wrestling. I mean, the shit that they do they do quite a bit. They just, space it out, and it meant more, and the crowd they're super into this fucking match. It's the show. That's one of the reasons it's a great show, and why it very well could be the best pay-per-view they ever did, is that it's paced incredibly. Like, to come off of that brawl, they go into this, kind of bring you down a little bit match, but still engage the fucking fans by, playing to the crowd and keeping them into it and doing your, picking your spots with your bigger moves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's worked extremely well. I mean, it's really, really well. I mean, this is a really, really well done match.
Yep. It ends with a disqualification at 16 minutes and 20 seconds. But you almost don't even care that. I mean,
it was a shitty ending, and Vader and Boss Man are kind of cuntish for making it an even shittier ending, because they did the same fucking spot in their match where there was no DQ for it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. The over the top rope gimmick. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Vader backdrops Boss Man out, and he doesn't get DQ'd. And I think Bobby Heenan knows, because Bobby Heenan goes, the referee didn't see it. And I rewound it. I was like,
yes.
I was like, did the referee not see it? And then when I rewound it, no, not only did the referee see it, he sold it. Like, when it happened, he's fucking, oh my God, or whatever. Yeah.
Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
well, no, just because Boss Man, I mean, he was selling the move. I mean, Boss Man got fucking thrown to the top. Like, it looked rough.
Oh no, that's where he goes to get backdrop, and Boss Man catches himself on the top rope and from nearly killing himself. on his way out of the ring. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that makes it even worse in retrospect.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing too was that they had this fucking argument like during the match about basically how racist Bobby Heenan was for thinking Great Muta wouldn't know the rules because he can't speak English like he hasn't wrestled a million. But then he fucking backdrops him over the top like he doesn't know the rules and gets disqualified. So it's like, in the end, Bobby Heenan wins.
He was right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like they were kind of making him look like he was an asshole, and Shivani was talking to him like that, but it's like, well, wait a second, this kind of proved his point. No?
Proved his point.
No, the best Bobby Heenan line of the night was when they talked about Pillman, and he said he had the reputation of being a quitter in football, and Tony Schiavone said, I've never heard that. And then Bobby Heenan said, deadpan, how many Super Bowl rings does he have? And Tony Schiavone says absolutely nothing for like 3 seconds, and Bobby Heenan goes, exactly. Fucking perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah. Heenan is great. Heenan and Schiavone have great chemistry.
Yeah, he's on here still. Yeah.
Yep.
He does not appear to hate life at this point.
I did find it interesting that Bobby Heenan said that this match was the first time he had ever seen Great Muta wrestle live, which it makes sense when you think about it, but just also still kind of shocking. Like, wow, that those guys had never crossed paths. He had never seen him, but when you think about it,
that's not. Yeah, it wasn't really shocking to me. I mean, like I didn't even really pay much attention.
Wow, okay. To me, I heard it and I went,
"The lifelong WWF guy."
Yeah, I mean, yes.
It's not like Muta. It's not like Muta really like. I mean, he spent some time in territories, but like on a national scale, like he did some sporadic appearances for WCW. But I mean, his stays, like he had a couple of short ones. He's not in America a lot. He just made a really big impact.
Yeah, it for sure. So yeah,
which is another thing. Every time I see him in fucking this, like an era like this too, they didn't even do a babyface turn with Muta. Just stupid. He just fucking came out and was like a babyface at one point, like no turn, no nothing, like just dumb. They could have got money. They could have, try to make some money every once in a while. Like the guy's actually pretty popular, so.
Yeah, they did fairly drop the ball with the Great Muta. I think that's easy to say.
Starrcade too. Starrcade 90. Flair should have wrestled Muta. Starrcade 90 should have wrestled him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
instead of doing that stupid fucking tournament.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oh, yes, where they do the round robin gimmick that we just saw.
Sucked. It sucked. Yeah, it sucked. Show sucked. Idea sucked, and execution, it was just horrible.
Yeah, they did it with the tag teams and the singles.
But you see here, he's one of the most over guys on the show. They're chanting his name.
Even Bobby Heenan points out how absurd it is that the Japanese guy's being cheered against the American for the United States Championship. Right? Like he's so over that Bobby Heenan has to point out that it's odd that he's getting cheered the way that he is. That also speaks to how effective Austin and Colonel Robert Parker were as heels. They work that pairing works. It worked well.
For that role, yeah. For a U.S. champion type role, yeah, that's a good pairing.
Yes, and
Austin from working that year with Pillman, 8 months, but I mean that time with Pillman, it really started clicking with Austin personality wise in the ring too. And I mean he's really fucking good. He's a great working heel. Takes big bumps and fucking, works the crowd and gets them into it and shit like that. He's another one too. When people talk all time, like I think they get so consumed with the Stone Cold Steve Austin character that they forget about his work from other parts of his career that is great, great in the ring work. Like this is, he's fucking great in this era.
Oddly, maybe this is a kind of a weird comparison, but when you say that, it's like Barry Bonds. Everybody thinks about 73 home runs, all the home runs that Barry Bonds hit, and they think of that era Barry Bonds, but they forget that early career Barry Bonds was also like a really good baseball player. Steve Austin the same way. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin was gargantuan, but pre Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's still really fucking good, and this match exemplifies that for sure. All right, our next match is the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship, the short-lived big gold belt offshoot.
It wasn't that short-lived. It fucking stuck around a while.
Did it? It felt like it didn't last that long.
It was there like 9. I mean, it was around like 9 months. I mean, that's about 9 months too long. So
not 9 months too long. Yeah. Rick Rude is your champion. He's defending against Sting, and there just was some communication issues with these guys. There was something just a half step off.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
I thought it was. I thought it was good till the end. It got a little clunky on the when Sting was making his comeback. Like their timing was off a couple times, and then the finish was horribly timed. That was not good. I mean, it was pretty good overall, just because it was good before that. I don't know what the fuck happened from the comeback on, but I mean, it falls apart there.
Correct, because it starts hot. It starts hot because Harley Race comes out and cuts a promo saying on Vader's behalf, saying that whoever wins, Vader wants whoever wins this match for the title. And Harley Race, we've mentioned this before, but this era Harley Race, while he's just a manager, he still loves to get involved in the action. He loves to bump and take bumps in this era. And they start with he goes to get in Sting's face, and then Sting bumps him, and then Rude attacks Sting from behind, and the match starts kind of differently than a lot of other matches on this show, right? So that's what helped, is that they did start off differently because it made it feel different. But yeah, it just lost a step, and then it just fell off.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they started missing shit. They started thinking about what they were missing, and fucking that got into their head. I don't know, but yeah, at that part, it started to kind of fall apart. But it was good up until that point.
Yeah, it was definitely up until they started derailing. It was fine. 12 minutes and 50 seconds. Sting actually wins. And is the WCW International World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Vader busts Rick Rude open hard way with a fucking chair.
Yes, and Rick Rude cuts a really intensely pissed off promo afterwards.
Probably because he's intensely pissed off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like him and Vader. Although you posted that awesome fucking photo of him and Vader where he's holding that fucking pistol.
That's insane.
What even is that? Like, what the fuck is going on there? That's all I want.
In 1993.
What is the context?
Like, hunting's not for me, but if it's your thing, it is what it is. But like, I see, like hunting pictures, but like, I'm gonna stand here with my friend and a fucking Glock. Like, that's just like, it's really out of place. It's very weird. The only thing that disappointed me in that picture is the only thing it needed was a Ribeiro Steakhouse fucking jacket.
One of them needed to be wearing a silver one.
Yeah. That would have pushed it over the top. The internet would have broken at that point.
Oh man. All right. We're moving on now. The next match on the card is a bunkhouse match. Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Robert Parker takes on Dustin Rhodes. This is the pay-per-view debut of Bunkhouse Buck. He was introduced on television in the weeks leading up to this match. Has some interaction with Dustin Rhodes, which leads to this bunkhouse match, which of course is a Rhodes family classic match, the bunkhouse match. And for me, and I know you say because I'm a huge Jimmy Golden fan, that's why I like this match. But, and you're probably right on some level, but this match,
you've been watching Continental Wrestling the last 2 months. Get the fuck out of here.
This is right out of the Continental fucking playbook. It's a Memphis style brawl where both guys bleed everywhere. They get after each other. They unload on each other with those choke shots. Yeah, and when they're whipping each other with the belts and shit.
But they tell a story with the belt too. Like it's, you know, like Dustin takes a good beating and then he does get his fucking comeuppance and it's crowd gets into it. Yeah, I mean, like Chicago has no reason to be into a guy like Jimmy Golden and Bunkhouse Buck, but they love this match. This is quite possibly it's not as good as the street fight to me, but I would say it's probably the most underrated match in WCW pay-per-view history. Like, this isn't even a match that ever gets discussed or brought up as like an all-time anything. And fuck, man. I mean, you know, there's a lot of matches that you can't just, you know, go through it all off the top of your head. But I mean, it's not something that gets talked about, and it should. I can tell you that for sure. I mean, it's
100%. It is Memphis wrestling brought to WCW for a match. It really is.
East Tennessee.
Yeah, East Tennessee. Yeah, there you go. Man, Jimmy Golden, Bunkhouse Buck, he's fantastic.
They'll fucking
the
shoot
character.
You call it Memphis wrestling.
You're right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Jimmy Golden will fucking he'll be the next Mike Rotunda on our page, and he will not be nice either.
No, probably not. No.
There might be some homophobic terms that might get thrown around. I could definitely see that. Yeah, it could be a whole hornet's nest. So you know, we gotta don't conflate those two things.
All right, but let me be absolutely clear. I fucking love Jimmy Golden. I love Bunkhouse Buck.
Yeah, I do.
I love Robert Parker. I love it all. And this match is really fun. 14 minutes and 11 seconds of pure brawl from beginning to end. Both guys bleed. The only critique involves the finish. You're in a bunkhouse match where you guys have been whipping each other and wrapping your hands in fucking belts. It's not enough.
Not enough.
But he uses they do the Nux gimmick, right? But Bunkhouse Buck, they do it like that's supposed to be illegal in the match, but it's a bunkhouse match. So he shouldn't have to hide the fact that he used the Nux, but it was just one of those things where it's the classic use of the Nux when the match dictated that they didn't have to be secretive about using the Nux. That was a little bit weird.
And I kind of think that they needed more than just like your typical foreign object finish, because it was just such an intense fucking brawl.
Right. They had already used foreign objects that didn't put guys down, right? So like for the Nux to be what ended it was a little odd.
Nux are tough. I mean, like in theory they should knock you out. I get all that, but it's just like it's just not as visually appealing as other things, so it's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
like there's no sound or anything like that either.
Exactly, and
it's not super impactful.
The guy doing it, and Jimmy Golden did it. He did what you're supposed to do. You have to really exaggerate and make sure everyone sees that you're putting the Nux on your hand. That they wrap it in white so that
they worked it right. Yeah, both.
Yeah, it's just a spot. The spot was worked perfectly, but in storyline, in kayfabe, if you will, they didn't need to hide it, but they were hiding it, which was that was the only critique. Would be like, why were you hiding it? You didn't need to, but whatever. That's picking nits, to say the least. That takes us to what I described as two grizzly bears mauling each other. If two grizzly bears had a pro wrestling match, it would be Vader versus the Boss from Spring Stampede 1994. I know you critique Ray Traylor's work a bit in this match because it is sloppily stiff.
He's sloppy, man.
It is sloppily stiff. They want to work a Japanese match, and it crosses the line to overly stiff and sloppy. But I love that. So
I've seen Ray Traylor work in Japan even the year before this, and he's not like this. So if he's already worked Vader by this point, or worked with Vader, and Vader was, stiff and sloppy. So maybe he felt like he needed to be based on some prior stuff. I don't know, but I
believe that was the case.
There's a difference between there's a difference between but there's a difference between stiff and sloppy, and he crossed. I mean, back suplex him right on his shoulder. I mean, that could have went real bad, but he hard weighed him and all that. I mean, the hard way is not that bad because, I mean, let's be honest, it's fucking, Vader the year before probably hard weighed, 80% of the guys he worked with. But yeah, when it was like the suplex, and then after the suplex on the shoulder, he sets him up for a DDT off the second rope for probably the first time in his career. And he falls on his ass before Vader falls, and the crowd like goes, oh, like out of disappointment. Yeah, and they knew that he fucked the move up. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's pretty solid because they're so fucking reckless. I mean, there's other times
yes,
where
I'm telling you, it's like watching two bears fight each other in the woods over a piece of salmon or something. It really, they're like Vader gets Trailer in the corner and literally is just bear pawing him at one point. I mean, it's incredible. I would definitely go out of your way to watch it just because it's a spectacle, for some wrong reasons, but it's a spectacle watching those two just kick the ever loving fuck out of each other for 9 minutes and 2 seconds. We talk about finishes, though. We talk about finishes. This match might have the best finish of the entire night. Vader hitting the moonsault off the top rope is an impressive sight, and he hit it perfectly on Ray Trailer and on the Boss in this match. And I thought that was, as far as the most spectacular finish of the night, definitely goes to this match.
You like your fat people going backwards, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty fucking impressive.
No, it was. Yeah, I don't.
And when you match it up to the Muda match, had a shitty finish. The Reed
match
maybe
had the only thing I might argue is that street fight finish because
because Cactus Jack nearly dies. You're right. That's.
But it's a great finish. I mean, especially in that era, he didn't do it all the time. So
correct. It felt like a wow. He pulled it out because usually we just hit the Vader bomb and that would be it. He hit that and then he went to the top and hit the fucking moonsault. So
and it shows you could beat a baby face clean and not kill him either.
Correct. And the crowd popped. Go back and watch it. The crowd explodes when there's a bunch of dudes that jump up in the air with their arms in the air. When
it's Chicago. There's a heel crowd element in Chicago always.
Absolutely.
Sure. A lot of smart wrestling fans.
Yes. After this match, Nick Bockwinkel cuts a promo with Ray Trailer, the Boss, where he strips him of his nightstick and his name, the Boss. And I bring that up because you brought up in promoting this show that this is, of course, the last time he uses the Boss or dresses anything close to what the Big Boss Man was, because WWF Legal was like, cease and desist.
Yeah, they should have dropped the whole Guardian Angel thing and just did fucking C&D Ray Trailer or something like that. Because
cease and desist.
Because they were like, I mean, they didn't. This was, I mean, one of the worst. Like, we're gonna try to slide this by things that I think either one of them did. Like, they changed no. They changed the color of his shirt. And they chopped off 3 letters of his name, but it just fucking, it's like, this is the Big Boss Man. Like, I don't know what you want us to say here.
Right. He's still on the nightstick. I mean, it was literally the same outfit, except for the blue was black. That's it. It was literally the same dude.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, maybe they won't notice.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
What's crazy is he was Big Bubba in WCW before. Just bring him back as Big Bubba. Bubba Rogers works. He's Big Bubba Rogers. I mean, he eventually becomes.
Which is what they ended up doing anyway. Well, yeah, after they fucked him around with Guardian Angel and all that bullshit.
Right. Just bring him back as Big Bubba Rogers. It would have solved.
They could have did that. Yeah, he's on fucking TBS for years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the fans would have known him. They would have been able to. And if they didn't know him, they could have showed him fucking footage of him. And would have probably gotten him over just as much. All right, main event time. WCW World Heavyweight.
Yeah, but they couldn't do that and steal the gimmick. Like that was the
yeah, right.
It wasn't unintentional. The goal was to steal the gimmick. It wasn't to bring it back and not get sued or not get in trouble or just find a gimmick for him. The goal was to fucking, how can we get the big boss man?
Yeah, get it right up to that line, right? How can we get people to think it's the big boss man without saying?
The line is like, they couldn't even see it in their fucking rear view. They were so far over the line with that shit.
Egregious for sure.
They should have brought in Slick to fucking manage him too.
Right? No.
And Slick would have been trademarked, so they should have called him Sly. Sly managing
Sly and the boss.
Sly and the boss. Yeah, dude, come on, man.
It's right.
Bring in Akeem and call him Hakeem with an H. Yeah. Change his dashiki color. That's all you need to do. Instead of blue, now he's wearing green, the color of the earth, like Africa. What the fuck, dude? Horrible.
I mean, how are we thinking of this fucking 20-some years later, and they didn't think of that then?
Maybe they did. You know what? Maybe their goal was just that, like, Vince is heavy into the fucking steroid trial at this point, so it's coming up. Yeah, maybe they're just like, maybe he just won't notice. Fuck. These guys don't have time to be watching our shit.
He definitely noticed. By the way,
shocker. Yeah.
All right, main event time. WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Ric Flair defends against longtime.
Oh, hold on. We skipped over something. When Rick Rude's cutting his angry promo and Vader comes in and they have their pull apart.
Yes.
Visually speaking, it is so evident how much Rick Rude would beat the ever-living shit out of Vader in a fucking fight. Like Vader, you can tell is like playing mean. But Rick Rude is like a scary fucking human being.
I wonder if we could find it. It's worth watching because you're right. It makes you realize that Rick Rude.
It's in his eyes. Listen,
yes.
There have been like no less than 10 dozen horror movies that have had like some kind of creature with Rick Rude's fucking eyes in them of some kind. Like it is evil personified. Like Rick Rude will he will break your jaw, fuck your wife, make you watch in that order. Like, just, oof, my God.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to find it. I can find it on Peacock. Hold on. It's worth watching.
He is fucking scary.
He is and he is in incredible shape, too. Like unbelievable shape. Just jacked to the fucking gills.
Very interesting death rumors.
Now, let's see. We'll Steamboat throw him back into
about when Michael
Standing with the WCW Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel.
We've had some tough matches tonight where the contestants stipulated to the rules before they got into the ring. This was not the scenario tonight.
No,
I realize how you feel.
Here, I found it.
Gary Michael last match. It's legal.
Come on, baby.
Tony Schiavone.
You're killing.
I know.
There's a lot of dead air.
I know, but work with me, guys. When you're doing it live.
Ventura back here into the dressing room. I'm hoping to get an interview with ravishing Rick Rude. Rick, look at. I understand what happened out there tonight, but I'm confused. I mean, I figured that Race and Vader were coming out there to aid you, and I'm not so sure about it.
I didn't send out no SOS. I didn't need no help. What you're looking at is 14 years of hard work, blood, sweat, tears, down the drain. I didn't need no help. I had to stay right where I want. Vader, Race, you costed me. I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay.
Everybody goes for Rude, right?
Do you see how unbelievable? First of all, Jerry Sags, that is one of the 10 most grotesque fucking things I've ever seen.
Holding that towel together.
This lesbian plumber coming out shirtless and fucking, my goodness. But that's the look of that time. But my God, this is like some really just scary stuff.
Yeah, Rick was a bad man.
Who's grabbing him? Brian Knobbs and somebody else. It doesn't even
Steve Austin and Regal. Yeah.
It doesn't look believable that they can contain him.
Correct.
Seriously, it's three grown men pushing on him. Yeah,
right, and he has to be working with them for him to be held back because there's no other way. Yeah, yeah.
The size of the breasts on fucking Jerry Sags. My goodness. Jerry Sags rocking a hard B cup. At least.
Oh man! All right, finally, main event time. WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Ric Flair defends against Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, no.
5 years after losing the belt to Ricky Steamboat in the same building. Rematch. Now Ric Flair is the champion again. Ricky Steamboat, surprisingly, and they point this out in the broadcast, booed when he comes out. Again, I think you could probably attribute that to the Chicago crowd just being kind of heelish, but also they're
both baby faces.
Yeah, they kind of played that into the storyline though. Leading up was
he's wrestling the most popular person in the company, or second most if it's either him or Sting. I mean, one's 1A, right. But I mean, like,
it's just odd to see Ricky Steamboat positioned in any sort of heelish manner, and he kind of was in this match.
Flair's the heel. He's working as a heel. Steamboat's not really doing anything to be a heel, and then Flair's turning heel anyway, which he knows. But no, I mean
the story played up in the videos. They made it seem because Ricky Steamboat accidentally hits Flair, and Flair's like they made it look. The story going into this match was that is Ricky Steamboat going bad guy? I mean, is he becoming a bad guy? That was kind of the underlying story going into this match. What from the videos?
I don't really remember that from this era. I mean, it was just kind of them. I mean, they were playing up that they were friends. There was some, light tension.
They had a tag match where he like somebody moved out of the way and Steamboat chopped Flair, and that's supposed to be the heat of it. But
right, which made Flair look like a dick because it looked like it just looked like Steamboat made a mistake, and then Flair starts acting kind of like a dick. And he's a total dick. Like in this match, he's even more of a dick, and it escalates in the few weeks after to where, I mean, he starts he knows at this point in April of '94. I mean, Hogan's already been on television. They mention his name on this show.
Right, so he has to be starting going heel.
Yeah, he knows he's going heel. He knows it's only a matter of time. So I mean, they're already kind of going in that direction, and you see it play out over time. They have a even better match than this on Saturday night to wrestle for the vacant title. So yeah,
it's Steamboat.
Yes,
this match is really.
I believe Flair seeks to win that.
Gotcha. This match is obviously the longest match in the show, 32 minutes and 19 seconds. This was worked in a very classic main event style. This is a 10 years of prior main event style match, 80, 85, mid 80s main event style match. That's what this one. And it was good.
It was a great main event style for the era. I mean, they're working. I mean, that's a 94-ish style for American wrestling. I mean, that's about where they're at.
Sure.
I mean, they were so far ahead of their time anyway, doing shit like that in the late 70s, early 80s. But I mean, yeah, it's different because it's babyface. It's their purest match like that. Even though Flair's kind of shading some heel there, but it's still outstanding. And Steamboat, they did a really good job of building the heat, starting slow and building. And Steamboat's, he works it with a lot of fire, which gives it, it gives it like that extra thing. Like that's the thing is that I think when people go babyface, they don't work it with enough fire to compensate for that, that kind of fact. But like, if you work it with some fire and still get the crowd into it that way, like Steamboat did, they get up for it and they were into it. It was a great match.
And now that you're saying that, and now looking ahead, that the plan all along is Ric Flair is going to start moving to the heel side anyway. It makes sense that you position him in a babyface versus babyface match with Ricky Steamboat, because Steamboat is the ultimate babyface. As Flair starts to dabble with those more heelish things in a match with Ricky Steamboat, it starts leading him down that path where the fans can accept much easier the heel turn of Ric Flair, because it's happening against a babyface the caliber of Ricky Steamboat. That makes sense, and that's great booking. That's genius fucking booking, as a matter of fact. And I don't know if that was what they were thinking, but if it was, that's fucking genius.
Well, they do the double pin off which is the same finish. It wasn't double pin.
Yeah, exactly. The submission finish that he won the belt with.
Chicken wing, into a pin. They both have their shoulders down. They call it a draw. Flair keeps the belt. But yeah, Steamboat came out and fucking cut a promo, and Flair came out enraged and threw the fucking title at Bockwinkel and told him he'd wrestle him that night for the belt, and they had a match on Saturday night that was even better than this, and Flair's working more heel, and I think he holds the tights or something to win. But yeah, it's an even better match than this.
Yeah. And on any other show, it would be easy to say that this was the best match on the show. Really. I mean, almost any other show, it would have been the best match, easily the best match on the show. But it's probably third.
Might be third, yeah. Could be. Yeah.
I mean, if we were to rank them,
that's nuts.
I think Nasty Boys, Cactus Jack, and Max Payne, we can probably agree, really solid, probably the best match on the show. Bunkhouse Buck and Dustin Rhodes, probably the second best match on the show. And Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, third. Austin Muda, fourth. Regal Pillman, fifth. Johnny B. Bad, Diamond Dallas Page, sixth, and Sting and Rude, seventh.
Sting and Rude might have been better than Bad and Johnny, just because it started out really good.
You can make that argument.
Yeah, you could. Certainly make that. But nothing. I mean, even to be last on that list, nothing's bad.
No,
nothing's even really close to bad.
Not a single clunker.
There's a couple of matches close to decent, average, but bad, no, there's not. And it's honestly, it's tough to say without going back and rewatching, some of all the shows with the same eyes, but it could be their best pay-per-view of all time. I don't think that's
hard to argue, man. And that now having to put the bow on this thing, we will be hard pressed to find a WCW pay-per-view that we will watch and review that is better top to bottom than this one. It sets the standard. I think it sets the standard.
The Great American Bash 89 that we watched might be better.
Right,
yeah.
Might be. That's
might be better.
Argument.
Yeah.
Might be the only argument.
It might be better.
It is 1 and 1A. It sets the standard. It sets
they
the
have
bar.
more. They're not as good top to bottom because there's a couple of matches that that Skyscrapers match is a clunker, but they have probably more great matches. But I would say those two. I would be hard pressed to think of a third that's really up there. That's oof. It's
from top to bottom, where you're talking about where there's nothing bad on the show, nothing where it's just outright
no.
Bad. Yeah, this
match a lot of great. That's the thing. Not just it's not like it's just not. It's not bad, but it's not good or.
But even
great
the other show, the Great American Bash, you have a question about the Skyscrapers match. There's no questions on this show, and that's why I think it was the best show that we've watched, because there isn't a match where you can go, well, there's that match that was okay.
Yeah, but it's one match, and like I said, you could still argue that the match quality up top is still better. So trading one match for having better matches up top,
one kind of outbalances each other.
Yeah, Flair and Funk was great on that fucking show. Luger Steamboat was fucking awesome on that show. That War Games match was fucking great on that show. They had a lot of really great stuff.
No.
But yeah, I wouldn't even really want to make a pick, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they're both in that conversation, but I don't know if anything else really is.
It's certainly those two have set themselves apart from anything else that we've watched so far, as far as just overall quality.
So. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well, next week is still up in the air as far as what we're watching. I know I was talking to Steve. His schedule has changed a little bit, so we're going to see if we can maybe make something work with him. If not, we'll try to make something happen for next week. But 2 weeks from now, we will be watching another AWA show with Derek St. Holmes, our buddy Derek St. Holmes, coming back to watch Bash by the Bay from 1986. Including a match between Stan Hansen and Jerry Blackwell.
I was not at this show.
No. Yeah.
I was at Super Clash 2, but I was not at this show.
Skibo says the Saturday night rematch was a phantom title change for Flair. It was number 12, but not recognized by WCW.
Yeah.
Tidbit for you. All right. Well, cool. So yeah, we'll follow. Let's pay attention to the Facebook page. We'll let you know what we're watching for next week. But yeah, until then, this has been Ben Jordan for Michael V. We'll see you next week.